The Mac, Jack, and Jim Big Football Show. Every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. with your hosts, Mac McGrath, Jack Hirsch, and two-time Super Bowl champion, Dallas Cowboy Jim Jeffcoat, with our weekly guests, Patriots and college football expert Keith Engle, our big story breaker, Robert Butler, and Jamie Pags, the Philly sports guy, with your Eagles updates. We'll be covering the NFC East, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys, and Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be covering the New York Jets, the New England Patriots, and college football. We'll be covering all your teams in the NFL. Bring your comments, your thoughts, and opinions to the Big Football Show. Well,
Mac, I mean, you don't want me. I used to be a teacher. You don't want to grade on that intro, I don't think. I mean,
it is what it is.
Let's have it. It needs some work. It needs some work.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It needs a lot of work.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, this is the Jim, Jack, and Max show today. So we're gonna run it. I got the mute button and everything. So if something said that I don't like, I'm muting everybody. But hey, I got some questions for you. Obviously, you two went to the Jets and Giants game last night, and I'd like to hear your are the Giants and the Jets ready for the season? I want to hear your views and your opinions.
Oh, I don't. I'll go first, Jack. I don't think they're ready. I mean, they're as ready as they're gonna be, right? I was disappointed. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to see Daniel Jones and some of the starters play, especially with Aaron Rodgers playing. I want to see how they matched up against Aaron Rodgers, and that's one of the reasons I was excited about going. But as we were talking before the show, Brian DeBall is kind of an old school coach. He doesn't play all his starters. Oh, he didn't play any in the last preseason game. So, it was good to see there were some players that were given a long look. James Robinson, the running back, they gave him like almost 2 quarters to play. Ran pretty well. I think there's a couple players, former starters, that are on the bubble. I think Darnay Holmes, I think he's on the bubble this year. I think Shepard's on the bubble this year, because they don't play special teams. Darnay had some problems last year in coverage, and I think he's been there for a while, and he was even working out, Jim, before everybody else got out there. He went out and was working with a coach. So I think they were. I don't know. There's something up with him. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's interesting. I played with Darnay's dad in Buffalo. Derek. His dad was a running back, and he was a good player. Actually, he was a really good player. So
yeah, he was. And the third string quarterback, the kid from DeVito from USFL, played pretty well. He played better than Tyrod Taylor. So I mean,
wow.
That was pretty interesting. Tyrod Taylor didn't play that much, but the kid is okay. I mean, he's not great, but he would be a good backup quarterback.
Well, he threw a pick 6. It's all relative to who you're playing against. Let's be honest.
Right.
If you're playing against the defense, third stringers, a lot of them who haven't played much together, you're a lot more likely to shine. It's so much different than if you go against someone's first.
Agree. So, good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Keith. Got a question for you, sir.
Oh,
and you probably have the answer. Are the New England Patriots ready for the season?
The offensive line is still a work in progress. Probably the biggest, I would say, concern as we get ready to start this season. A lot of injuries and a lot of inconsistent play, so it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out. There's some tough decisions to make as they cut down to 53 too. We didn't think wide receiver would be one place they'd have trouble cutting guys, but they're a little deeper there. Maybe not, great quality, but good players.
Mm-hmm.
And then the defensive backfield, there's a plethora of guys too. They already cut a veteran yesterday in Davis, but they got a lot of defensive linemen as well. So that's my biggest problem, Jim, is the offensive line has not looked good the entire preseason, and that's the biggest concern I have.
Mm-hmm. But they've good morning. First of all, good morning, Rick. But they've had issues in the past, and I know they had Tom Brady, but they've won with issues in the offensive line. Yeah.
There was a lot of years where that offensive line was not very good, but it's a different story when you got a guy like Brady. And again, I do like Mac Jones, but he's not Tom Brady or close to it. So that makes
no question. And I agree with you there.
Big difference. He made up for a lot of issues they had certain seasons on that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Keith, I was really all day I was gone with the meeting Jack and at the Giant game. And Doc, it was great. It was great to see these guys.
You guys didn't get arrested or anything?
Well, I just have to make a quick comment. I mean, the Giant personnel, the workers there, not the players, are very nice, very polite, very helpful. So it's not a knock on the Giant staff, the people who they hire to work the stadium. But you get to the parking lot. I pull into the parking lot. It shouldn't take me 20 minutes to pull into a spot. All these Giant fans were tailgating. They're taking up 3 spots. Every group is taking up all the spots. They're putting their chairs, they're barbecuing. I just want to pull my darn car into a spot. I shouldn't be going all over. Thankfully, there was a Jet fan amongst the group. He moved his chair and he helped out because he saw I had on a Jet shirt and cap. So, he helped out. But the Giant fans, the greed of taking up all these spots, tailgating.
Jack with his
something about the Giant tailgaters are definitely a menace.
Jack with his analyst of the pregame, the parking situation.
I should take close to a half hour once I'm in the lot to park my car. I have to keep going around.
For the amount of money it costs me to go to a game and park, I'll take up as many parking spots as I want to tailgate. Let me tell you.
Listen to Keith. There goes Keith with his follow up. No, the thing that I heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, Keith, was that New England was running the ball a lot.
They did. They only completed 8 passes the whole game. I think they threw 18. They weren't very effective throwing the ball. They only had 36 offensive plays in this game. They ran the ball 18 times. That's it.
Wow.
So they did not. There were a lot of 3 and outs. The offense was not very good, but it was mostly the backups. Nobody really played. Mac Jones.
Yeah, because Ezekiel Elliott didn't play.
No, Pierre Strong got the most carries.
And he was 8. He had 8 carries for 31 yards.
Yeah, he wasn't. I guess the high spot of this this game for the Patriots was the punter. Their rookie punter had a really good game, so that's never a good sign. But
yeah. Tennessee got after him pretty good, 23-7.
Yeah. It wasn't a pretty game to
watch.
Well,
but it's just like we were talking about before the show. It's preseason, so expectations.
I'm not overly concerned. Again, starting with the Eagles is doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence.
I tell you where I would be concerned. The Rams and the Broncos played, and the Broncos won 41-0. That would be
those games you worry about. Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Keith, I was talking. I said the ball. Before you come on, the ball is old, like old school coach. He's not going to play his starters the last game. He's going to evaluate what he's got, make some cuts. It was the second before the preseason that he started for a while. I don't know. I was disappointed because I didn't see who I wanted to come see, but that's preseason.
Yeah, and I think I saw an interview with him before the game, and I don't know that a single starter played in that game for the Giants. So how excited can I get for the Jets with Aaron Rodgers look good, right? Threw a great touchdown pass. One of their scores, but how much did he put into it?
Interference. Yeah. That's how he got down there. That was a terrible call.
I'm just talking about the touchdown pass.
Hey, first of all, I got to always acknowledge Pickles because he's my New Jersey brother. So I got to always acknowledge him.
So Jeff's got to become a Tennessee Titan fan if he's worried about parking, is what he's saying.
No, you're talking about quarterbacks. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Actually, Tim Boyle looked better than Zach Wilson. I wish they'd open things up to Jets for Zach Wilson. It's like they're still trying to build his confidence. He's in his third year.
I think he's played pretty well.
It gets to a point either you have it or you don't. And I just don't know. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, I can't say I have complete confidence in
Let me ask you this question for all you guys. Obviously, we saw what happened with the 49ers last year when they lost Brock Purdy and they had no quarterbacks. Do you think that's why teams are looking at keeping their third quarterback? Because normally they used to keep two.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's one of the big – we talked about the Patriots themselves and tough decisions they have to make. They're trying to make a decision on Malik Cunningham and what to do there because they're afraid if they don't keep him on the 53-man roster, they won't be able to get him back on the practice squad. So and they badly want him to do that. So yes, I think teams are going to have to do this the way the NFL is today, and the way quarterbacks drop. I think that a lot of teams are going to look to do that. But you can also carry an emergency.
If you look around the league at the backups, the majority have been starters at one point or another throughout their career. They've been another team's number one quarterback.
Yeah,
except for Cooper Rush was never a number one quarterback. Well, he was.
Not Cooper Rush. Yeah,
he was never a guy that was a starter for another team.
Well, they're definitely going to keep quarterbacks, right? They have no choice but to keep three quarterbacks now. The Cowboys, they have to, right?
Yeah,
I was just going to say.
But look at even the other three teams: Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, and Jacoby Brissett were all given the starting quarterback, jobs elsewhere in the past.
But I don't know if Mariota's going to make it. They did guarantee him $5 million, though.
I know Pax ain't too happy with him. I know that. But, again, it's preseason. He's working with third stringers, second stringers. I mean, when he gets out there and he's throwing to the first string wide receivers, I mean, it might be a little bit.
You guys, and Keith, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but he walked off on a team.
I was just going to say that. I mean, I wouldn't have signed him in the beginning. He walked off his team. Once he lost his job, he walked away, said, my knee hurts, I'm going home.
Exactly.
Yeah, he got hurt, supposedly.
But again, he had some issues. He could have stayed with his team and worked on his injury like everybody else does, but he walked away, took his ball, and went home. And I don't want that guy on my team.
Keith, got a couple questions on you college football because I know that you talked about. First, USC against San Jose State. They won 56-28. I think USC has the same problems. They're all offense and no defense.
Yeah.
And
I saw the same thing I saw last night. San Jose, good team in the Mountain West. This is not a good team that ought to be on the field with USC. And they kept them in the game for a lot of the game. I mean, look, if they weren't going to win the game, we knew that. But they moved the ball up and down the field.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then my next question to you is Notre Dame. Are we underrating Notre Dame? And I know they were just playing Navy.
Yeah. I like Notre Dame this year a lot. I've said that a couple of times.
Yes, you have.
Because I like Sam Hartman. He's a really good quarterback. Freeman has brought in some better receivers who can go down the field a little bit, stretch the field a little bit. I think you saw that yesterday. Again, I get it's Navy. But Navy often plays this team tough. They played them really well last year in the second half, especially. They outscored them in the second half. So, again, we got to wait till they see somebody good, but it's possible. We'll see him play Ohio State pretty soon. It's only a few weeks away. So.
The thing that I noticed is how well Notre Dame has done with the running game.
Yeah.
I think they have a really good running game.
Yeah, I like to see him in the defense. The defense is pretty good, too. That's another thing. So, again, We only saw them against Navy, but it's real football. At least it counts. These kids want to win. So,
and it was in Ireland, and you saw what happened in Ireland last year with Northwestern.
Yeah. So I think they could make a run. Yes.
So Keith, the Ohio State game, I think, is going to show us something about Notre Dame. If they can keep tight with Ohio State, which I think is going to have a really good team this year again. If they can stay tight or beat Ohio State, now I'll start saying, yeah, Notre Dame's for real. But
and
go ahead.
Yeah. And all I was going to say was the top teams right now in the NCAA football: Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State are breaking in new quarterbacks. So that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. Alabama might be overrated, even at 4. And this is the first time, interesting enough, it's the first time since I believe 2005, I want to say, that Alabama has been ranked out of the top 3 to start the season. So they've got some issues at wide receiver as well as quarterback at Alabama. They had them last year. So we'll see if that continues. Listen, if Notre Dame beats Ohio State, which is not going to be easy, they got a quarterback issue as well. We'll see what happens there. But they got a ton of talent on wide receiver and whatnot. If they beat Ohio State, this team is definitely going to be in the hunt for that top 4 college playoff for sure. And then they got USC later in the year.
Yes.
So back with the Patriots, Keith. I think your running game is going to be good. I think your defense is going to be good. The biggest question is your quarterback, and until that's solved, that's why I'm so worried about the Patriots this year. It's not that they're not going to play teams tough. You got a great coaching staff over there at New England, and maybe you control the ball. Maybe it's old style football versus new style. I'm a little worried about the quarterback situation. Zappe doesn't look good. Mac Jones, we'll see what happens. And Cunningham, as you said, he won't last. They've got to sign him to something. I don't know what it is. I imagine they did sign him to something, but if you put him out there on waivers, he's gone. And that's the biggest thing that teams are going to deal with this year is the waiver situation. This is the next part of this whole cycle.
You'll see a lot of moves for sure. And as far as the quarterback situation, you're absolutely right. The problem is the quarterback situation is compounded and directly affected by this offensive line situation. Right. So he could play okay and really look bad because the offensive line is bad. So they need to step it up and get healthy, and they have played as a real unit. Michael, I'll say his name wrong. Anyway, I'm probably saying his name wrong. He's back, which will help them a little bit. But they got to play good as a unit.
But I also think Bill O'Brien is holding things back. He's hiding stuff, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's a Patriot. Everybody does it, right? Nobody gives away.
That's what I'm saying. So we don't really know, and you guys have talked about it in the exhibition season, what these teams are, how they're going to attack you until the first game.
We're going to find out how good or bad that offensive line is in week 1 because the Eagles throw a lot of guys at you. So
you're talking about one of the best defensive lines.
But the new defensive coordinator is not big on blitzing.
You know what? The new guy, yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
Of all the teams in the NFL, is week 1 maybe the most important to the Patriots in this sense? If the Eagles blow them out game 1, there's going to be a major reaction in New England. It's not just going to be considered a blip, a bad game. The Jets could technically, for example, get blown out by the Bills, and they'll reset for week 2. Yeah. But there'll be mass panic in New England should Belichick go. Is Mac Jones the right guy for the job? I'm just saying public perception.
But that's everywhere.
No, but more so in New England. I don't think New England can afford a disastrous game in week 1, and the potential is there for such a thing happening because they're playing the Eagles.
I'm torn. Part of me wants to agree with you, Jack, and part of me doesn't because it's a long season, and we know September is going to be a rough go for the Patriots. They got a really tough schedule out of the gate, starting with the first game, as we said. And I don't know if a blowout ends their season. Sometimes those games, listen, they've looked really bad over the years in a lot of games and rebounded and looked. We thought Again, Tom Brady was there when these things happened. I get it, but there's a lot of times we wrote off the Patriots. Well, not we. Other people wrote off the Patriots. I remember the Bengals, Kansas City on to Cincinnati. If you remember that, Brady was done. Garoppolo's going to be the quarterback. They got killed. That was early in the season, and they still just said on to Cincinnati. And
you mentioned the Bengals. The Bengals, we talk about them and how Joe Burrows. Well, they came to Dallas, and they got beat in Dallas. But as the season progressed, they got better. It is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Again,
you have to remember.
I'm not saying losing even by a couple of touchdowns. I mean like a blowout, a 41-3 game. Where
I don't foresee it being a blowout.
I don't either. I think they'll find a way to keep it close. If they look at, they could win the game. It's the NFL. Anybody can win these games. But if they keep this close and they're competitive and they don't look really bad in any phase of the game, I don't think there'll be any kickback. If it's as bad as you say, Jack, I may overreact. I don't know if everybody else will. So.
Yeah, but also you got to look at it too. Is that they're still? We don't want to say it. They're still in preseason because they haven't played a lot of this stuff.
Well, we say it all the time, right, Jim? That September is an extension of preseason because we don't hit, and geez.
Exactly.
Well, and historically, Keith, if I remember correctly, the Patriots are slow starters anyway. They really don't go out and they don't, go 5-0 or anything like that. They had that one magical year way back when. But they really don't do that. They were a slow starting team for the most part.
A lot of years this team has started 2-4 even and rebounded, made the playoffs, made Super Bowls. 2 years ago when Mac Jones rookie season, they were 2-4 and they rebounded to make the playoffs. So,
that's right. That's right.
So, yeah, I wouldn't panic.
And Pickles is right. Belichick is probably one of the best adjustment because then he gets all his videos and stuff, and then he knows what everybody's doing.
The teams get better. Even last year, this team and Mac Jones was bad. We know Mac Jones played much better. He didn't play great, but he played pretty decent football. Yeah. The second half of last season, they got much better as a team. They lost a couple of heartbreakers, which cost them the playoffs. And
also, people don't realize the Bill O'Brien factor. I know they're struggling in the offensive line, but O'Brien is going to help Mac Jones.
Yes,
he's going to help him tremendously.
Agreed. And I do think this team will be better. I think they'll make the playoffs because I think he's worked 2 wins. So if there's just as good as they were last year, and I add Bill O'Brien, I add 2 wins to the total.
Let me ask you this: what games are you looking at that are going to be the games that are going to be the most exciting for your teams? I know Mac is probably either Dallas or Philadelphia.
Listen, I think, first we played Dallas again. We played a great game with Dallas 2 years ago. I was on a cruise ship, and it was an ugly night for me. My wife was very angry with me that evening. And actually, we had the same exact scenario this year. We played Dallas the day we leave on a cruise. So I hope that we don't repeat that situation. I might be coming back alone, or she might be coming back alone. But I think I'm excited about all the games in the division because everybody's pretty good. I mean, the Jet games obviously are going to have a much different feel than they've had in a while with Rodgers there and the rest of that team getting improved. Buffalo's always been a good.
Wait, Jake. When was the last time Belichick coached against Aaron Rodgers? It had to be quite a while ago. I can't recall that.
I don't think so.
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year.
Okay.
That's when Mac fell in love with Bailey Zappi. It was during the Green Bay.
Okay, right. Okay.
Oh Lord, again, Keith, the biggest worry, as you said, and I've kind of been following the Patriots because they're from around here, is the offensive line. If your offensive line ain't playing,
absolutely,
that's the biggest worry. I don't care who the quarterback and running backs are, and you win in the front line. That's the basic thing of football.
The only team I can think of in recent history, and other than the Patriots, we talked about them throughout their dynasty. They had some bad years, but the only recent team, the Bengals, have really not improved their offensive line. They've been able to get away with it, and Burrows gets killed during some games.
That's true.
But they've been able to overcome it and be very competitive and get to a Super Bowl. So,
and Buffalo has offensive line issues. So
yeah,
that's the truth on that.
But the Bengals' talent level is a bit above the Patriots at this point, obviously.
A little bit, just a little bit. Yeah.
Burrow might be a little better than Mac Jones.
A little better. Jamar
Just
Chase
a
and
little
Higgins.
bit.
Jamar Chase and Higgins are a little bit better than
No,
wide receiver.
Nobody's comparing Chase to Devontae Parker. I miss those comparisons. I guess.
Not yet.
You know,
It's
speaking about the AFC East, and you guys are going to be shocked, and I've watched them because everybody's talking about it, is Miami. It wouldn't shock me if Miami is not as good as people think. And they do have talent. I'm not questioning their talent. There's something about them that's missing.
Yeah, I think their coach is a little goofy, to be
He
honest.
is goofy.
I think he's a little goofy, which is one thing. You got the Tua situation hanging over your head because any play, is he going to go out? We don't know. So, yes, if there's a team that I could see really underperforming, it might be the Dolphins. And they are.
See, I see it being the Buffalo Bills is the team that would underperform in the AFC.
Another possibility, I guess.
The only reason I don't say the Bills, Jack, is because of their receiving core. They have that tight end's pretty good, and they have some receivers, and they have a running game.
I think Cook will step up this year in his second year and play much better.
Yep. I agree, too.
Stephon Diggs' attitude there, Josh Allen is probably going to overcome.
Everybody says that, but when the game is played, Diggs plays hard in game.
Yeah.
And that's receivers.
But he demands the
receivers. They do that. They want the ball every single play.
But with him, he commands too much power on that team. There's a difference.
I disagree because I've been around the great receivers, the Andre Reeds, the Drew Pearsons, the Hall of Famers, Michael Irvin. They thought they were open every single time.
Yeah.
But you had coaches who would control them. Jimmy Johnson could control Michael Irvin.
That doesn't mean he's not going to go to the sideline and complain about him. I mean, that's just their personalities. The great one.
It's up to the quarterback to control that a little bit too, and I think they got a strong personality at quarterback. I think he can keep that under wraps as well.
I
disagree with you. I think Miami's a Super Bowl contender. I really do. I think they got
a good defense.
One of the best wide receiving.
Defense.
Their defense is really solid. Buffalo plateaued. Buffalo's plateaued. They're done. They had their shot. They blew it. They're all done. I'm telling you. They don't have the
now
defense.
You sound like Stephon Diggs. Now you sound just like Stephon Diggs.
Line, you can always listen. You can't. The offensive line of the Bills is not that well. Their defense is not that good. Josh Allen runs way too much with the football than the running backs. That's the running game. I don't care what Buffalo's got there. They had a chance to get a good running back. They didn't do that. They didn't go and get one of the good running backs. So I don't think Buffalo's going to do that well this year. If they finish third this year, I'll be surprised.
Wow.
Yeah,
I really do.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked because I'm on record as saying I think any one of these teams can win the division. Any one of these teams can finish last. I really
and I agree with that. There's something missing in Miami. I'm telling you guys, and I think they have the ability to win it and be a Super Bowl contender, but something's not right. Something's not right.
It sounds like a TV show. Something's wrong in Miami.
I kind of agree with Jim to a point, but they're too good, I think, to have a losing record. That's the thing about it. And once you have a winning record, you're in the mix. So
maybe.
I don't know.
And they got some tough teams. Obviously, they play in their division. The Jets, which we're talking about, is going to be better. Buffalo, which you say is not. And then they still got to play New England. And those teams know them now. They've had a year to know McDonald's and how he attacks you.
Well, yeah, Tua didn't play that much that last year, Jim. Mm-hmm. If he's healthy, I mean, he's accurate. He's accurate as hell.
They protect Tua.
Well, we'll see. That we'll see. That
problem you have. And I think that's their downfall.
And every pass rusher in the league will be trying to knock him out of a game because that's just the way it works, right? You're not trying to hurt a guy. We know that. Most guys, I guess, Jim. Some guys might have been, but but putting the guy out of the game is part of the job. So
they got Mike White from the Jets says their backup quarterback, the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
who's okay as a backup. I mean, he was so with the Jets last year. He looked good compared to Zach Wilson.
He can't stay on the field either, though, by the way. And in
Yeah,
limited times he gets to play, he gets hurt all the time, too.
Yeah.
That's very true.
You know, we keep talking about the glamour positions, but you talk about the AFC East, the defenses. We don't focus on the Patriot defense, which is pretty good. The Jets, conceivably, you know, could have the best defense in the NFL next year, arguably. It might happen next year.
That's a possibility.
And the Buffalo Bills, their defenses, you know, kind of so-so. Sometimes this happens with a team. They look good most of the year, and then they kind of hit a wall late in the year, and then it carries over into the next season, and they're never the same again. You know, you kind of wonder if that happened with the Buffalo Bills. They kind of hit a wall last year, kind of like a marathon runner gets to 20 miles, starts falling apart, and that's, you know, it's never the same after.
I think the Ham situation affected him too.
Well, all I know is that they've got another strong division in AFC, which the NFC really doesn't have, and that's the problem for a lot of the teams in the AFC East this year. When you got Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and of course Cincinnati. So,
it's going to be fun. That's why we play the games, right?
That's right.
True.
Listen, I don't know where Robert is, but I got to jump, guys.
All right. That's Normia's clue. All right, Keith.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
You know, mentioned Pittsburgh. It came up before the Steelers. I mean, they've been looking good in the preseason here and haven't had a losing season for 18 years. Is this the year that Mike Tomlin has a breakthrough once again? But it's hard to imagine with Kenny Pickett being the starter. But it's easier to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC than it is in the AFC because the NFC is not stacked. And something bothers me about the 49ers for all their talent. Somehow Brock Purdy now as their starting QB in the long run. I'm not sold on them. I'm sorry. I'm just not sold
all you
on
got to
them.
do is hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey and throw the ball to Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, and the tight end.
Kittle at tight end. Yeah.
Now, the Bosa situation is what's hurting them in their kicking situation. Both their kickers are injured. They don't know what they're going to do with their kicking situation.
That's true, and the Chiefs are the same thing with Chris Jones. I mean, that's a big part of their defense, especially.
Yeah, that's huge. That is a huge loss.
The Chiefs don't have an elite defense as is. I mean, they're a little better than average, but take Chris Jones out of there.
Chris Jones is one of the. What did they rate him as? One of the players rated him as one of the top 10 players in the NFL.
Yeah, but you have sympathy for the players. They sign a contract, and at the time they sign it, a guy like Chris Jones is one of the highest paid defensive ends in the NFL when he signs his deal. So then you sign a long-term deal. Other guys are going to pass that deal. It's obvious, and then they want to renegotiate.
And I agree with you. But they outplay those contracts, and that's the problem. And I know salary cap and all those situations, but they're outplaying. Chris Jones outplayed his contract. And here's the problem with it is he's closer to the end than he is to the beginning. Chris is 30 years old, 31. So he's 29 going on 30. He knows he's closer to the end. He's trying to get maximum value. And it's not right, but that's just the reality of today's football.
But he signed for about $20 million a year. So Aaron Donald then surpasses that deal, goes up to about $30 million a year. So should the team really maybe extend them? Maybe the word renegotiate they don't have, but there are ways of working it out by giving the guy a fat extension. But why should the team do that? Because chances are they're not going to live up to the contract. The majority of the guys that the team is then going to extend aren't going to give them full value. You think the Rams are getting full value out of Aaron Donald? In large part, it seems they're keeping Aaron Donald now out of loyalty. And will another team want to pay Aaron Donald $30 million a year right now?
Yeah, but here's the thing, Jack, is they could do what they did with Zach Martin. They never changed the contract. What they did is give him more money up front. They can give him cash up front and give him a bonus and then rework the numbers like that. It looks like they've done something, but they really haven't done anything. They just changed how the money is distributed. Yeah. And Pickle says that you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's listen. I agree with Jack. If I was a GM, no renegotiating the contract you signed before, unless I'm paying you ridiculously small amount of money.
Yeah,
I mean, Chris
Matt,
Jones. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Matt, because you made a great point I wanted to mention. Like in the case of Scottie Pippen, the last dance of the Chicago Bulls, if Scottie Pippen is the 8th and 9th highest paid player on that Chicago Bull team, now that's an embarrassment. The team has got to step up and do something.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah, you're right.
Right. I mean, then why have contracts? Why don't you just do all 1-year contracts? I mean, why even sign that? See, you the players want, and I'm not anti-player, but the players want the security of having a long-term contract, and then they want to renegotiate it. Why not just do a 1-year contract and to prove that you're the best in the league? I'll pay you as much as you want.
Here's the problem you run into, and I understand what you're saying, Mac. But what about the situation down in Tampa with Ryan Jensen, the center? His career is over. Last year, if you remember, he had a knee injury, a severe knee. He refused to get knee surgery. He re-injured that knee in preseason, and now his career is done. But at the end of the season, they signed him to a 3-year extension. He's guaranteed $26.8 million over 3 years. I mean, I'd rather have that as security than as signing a 1-year deal like these running backs.
I agree with what you're saying, but you can't have it both ways to me. All right, the guy, listen, the guy's taken care of. That was smart. Why he didn't get an injury, that's his decision. I don't know why he didn't get an operation. That's his decision. It's not the team's decision. But he still's got that security. So what do you do after he comes off the injury and he's playing really good and he's one of the best centers in the league? Does he get to renegotiate his contract? No, I don't think so. You signed that contract.
The case Zach Martin, when he signed his deal with the Cowboys for like $13 million, I think it was like the highest paid guard in NFL history, but then it got surpassed years later.
Which is going to happen in today's NFL.
Absolutely. You sign a long-term deal. Now, other guys of similar stature, that's their baseline that they're negotiating off now, and they're going to pass that. It's like records in sports. They get passed. And the guy, then should he be able to come back to the team? Oh, no, I have to be the highest paid guy still. Then put it into your contract. You're always going to be one of the 3 high paid guys at your position, like, pay raises. And
that would be good if in reality they won't do that, but
no.
Yeah.
Well, the team wants to make a good deal for themselves too.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, think of all these teams that have gotten burned on these contracts over the years.
Yeah, because you got to look at it. The Cowboys are in a situation. They've already paid Diggs, but they still got to pay Micah Parsons. You understand that? And then they have to renegotiate with Prescott.
They don't have to.
Parsons is going to be
because it's too much on their cap.
Micah Parsons is going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
He's smart because he's waiting to see what happens with Bosa in San Francisco.
Well, the 49ers are going to now have to resolve the Bosa situation. I kind of feel they're going to give them what they want when push comes to shove.
Again, if I was GM, I would not renegotiate with Bosa. I mean, he's a great player. I wouldn't renegotiate because you're starting presidents.
What happens?
What stops McCaffrey from renegotiating then? And what stops Debo from renegotiating? It's
more important.
But you remember Debo had issues last year. Remember they renegotiated Debo last year.
I know. Where does this? That's what I'm trying to say, Jim. Where does it end? Where does it end? I mean, it just. What?
Mac, you asked when it ends. It ends when a team holds firm and they're willing to let the guy sit out and never come back again. That's when it ends. And then what does the guy do? Like Saquon Barkley cut his losses. He came back early in training camp. He probably saw this was going to linger on. let's make believe for one moment, guys. Saquon Barkley was still holding out now. Chances are the Giants would let him sit out the season. They weren't going to do anything. So, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, look at his situation. He's only getting paid about $4 million a year. But what else is he going to do? And Indianapolis is awful in this. No one's going to give Indianapolis a first-round draft choice. That's ludicrous. But that's what they're asking for. And telling Jonathan Taylor to work out a deal. And if Jonathan Taylor somehow can work out a deal, let's say hypothetically, his new team's not going to have the money to pay him. Oh, they'll pay him a couple of million more. Instead of 4, they might go up to 6, 8 million at most. But they're not going to give him the type of contract he wants.
Yeah, and Pickles brings up a point that everybody thinks that the trade for Trey Lance was to put pressure on Dak Prescott. It wasn't to put pressure on him. It is not a bad deal. San Francisco made the bad deal. They moved up, they traded 3 draft picks to get this kid.
Yeah.
And they never realized this kid hadn't played a lot of football.
How can you not realize that, Jim? You got a scouting department. How do you not realize that? Come on.
They messed up. They messed up. Now you trade them for a 4th-round pick. It's a win-win situation. They win because that's more money they got to pay Bosa, and the Cowboys win because if this kid does become the second backup to Dak, then you won. If he doesn't, you cut him. So it's not that big of.
And as much as I think Dak Prescott is one of the reasons why the Cowboys haven't gone to a championship yet directly, because of some of the bad throws he's made and a couple of the things he's done, like not getting the ball down and stuff like that. You're not going to get Dak Prescott ain't going anywhere if he has a bad year.
Remember, I'm going to tell you something. This is the first time the last preseason game with Will Greer, who they're going to release probably today, is Dak Prescott called the whole first like an offensive coordinator. And this is the most points they've scored in the preseason. And I thought that was interesting because I'm sure McCartney has done that with Aaron Rodgers and the quarterbacks he's had. He gave them so he can feel what they're saying, because that helps you. And you always mention this in the past, Matt, is that in the old times, quarterback called their own plays. Or the only one was Miami where they brought a guard in, but for the majority of the time, the great quarterbacks called their own. I'm not saying Prescott, but they called their own plays.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I mean,
I'm a big believer in quarterbacks calling their own plays, the veteran quarterbacks. I leave it up to the quarterback to have a relationship with his offensive coordinator to work things out. And Aaron Rodgers likes to take the field. He doesn't want someone else to tell him what plays to call.
Something that happened this week, and I don't know if you noticed it. There was a video, and I forgot who they were practicing against. Aaron Rodgers was there at the line, and he was looking at the defense, and the safety sat up like he was going to blitz. Aaron Rodgers told him to go back. He said, "I know you're coming. You might as well go back because you're not going to get me."
Well, the good quarterbacks call their plays. They're in on the meetings with the offensive coordinator. They go out there. They've got audibles. They got other plays they can run. They're not actually, saying I'm going to call the whole game, but they do. The veteran quarterbacks, for the most part, they're in on the meetings. They know what's going on. They're helping script the plays. So it's not like you're running guards in and out like they did in the old days, call plays.
Yeah, with Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, they're not doing that anymore. Yeah, and the offensive coordinator does.
Jim Kelly was like that. Jim Kelly called his own plays. Of
course.
Yeah, it depends on how strong the coach is, how much security he has. If Robert Saleh hypothetically gets into disputes with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are winning, Robert Saleh gets fired. Aaron Rodgers has that type of power because Aaron Rodgers is going nowhere. And there's certain personalities, like Andy Reid, to his credit, he seems to have a handle on the situation now. Like if him and Patrick Mahomes got into a big dispute, the Chiefs aren't going to fire Andy Reid. They tell them to work things out, both guys. But there's certain Jim Kelly, I believe you could vouch for this, had a excellent relationship with Marv Levy when Marv Levy didn't think that any type of ego.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson wasn't the type who would take nonsense from quarterbacks. You had that impression, but Troy Aikman wasn't that type. That's the impression that you had.
No, he wasn't. But Jimmy did draft Steve Walsh. You got to remember that.
Yeah.
That's true.
In the supplementary draft.
Yeah, but that's the same thing in a way like with this Trey Lance. Trey Lance, the goal is, I'm sure, with the Cowboys, next season, Trey Lance is the primary backup. They've got to move him into that.
I would agree.
And then if he gets into any games for whatever reason, injury or whatever, and Trey Lance really looks good, and Dak Prescott is so-so, now it fits in the equation. They made that trade based on potential.
Yeah.
4th round pick has value, but it's kind of like worth it because when you consider what the Niners gave up, and he's had a couple of years experience, even with the injuries with the Niners, but he's got to take reps, Jim, and it's the third.
And that's the problem.
Many reps with the Cowboys.
The problem you have, and you make a great point, is Jordan Love is a prime example of that. Obviously, he was behind the Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. He learned, but he didn't get reps.
Yeah.
This summer, this preseason, he's gotten reps, but he learned. They brought him along the right way. Trey Lance was an interesting situation. They had brought Jimmy G in, but they never really – this kid hasn't had a lot of reps. And when you drafted him, you should have known that. He didn't play that much in college. He hasn't played that much in the NFL, where Jordan Love was totally different. He played.
Notice Jordan Love has got more reps than any starting quarterback in the preseason because of his lack of reps in the past.
Well, second, Bryce Young has gotten a lot of reps in.
Yeah, you're right. And, speaking of Bryce Young, the guy who went right after him in the draft, C.J. Stroud at quarterback, I'm a little down on the Houston head coach, DeMeco Ryans. They made a big deal coming from the 49ers. I thought it was such a great hire at the time. But what are you doing setting up a competition with C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills? It makes no sense. Everyone knows you drafted Stroud to have the job. Make him a leader immediately. Make it clear he's the starting quarterback. That's why you drafted him for the position. I could understand you had someone else who's been in the league a while, who's been a quality starter. But David Mills, come on. I mean,
I tell you, the guy who's like me, and I know he hasn't played great this preseason, is Bryce Young. I still think Bryce Young.
He's going to have a good year.
He's not going to have a good year. He's going to have a good
year this year.
At the end of the year,
he's going to be
see how good he's
going.
Oh, my. Yeah, I don't know what you guys see in Bryce.
No, you said that about the kid in Chicago, too.
He's not.
Well, Justin Fields really hasn't proven anything yet, Jim, in all fairness to Mac.
All right.
I mean, you got it. The jury's still out on
Justin Fields is a problem.
Here
are the quarterbacks that became, everybody said that Will Levis was going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
That was Keith Engle who said that.
Yeah. Justin Fields is getting better. He's not where he needs to be.
Yeah.
I hope so, Jim. I hope he's getting better. They draft him in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a great.
That doesn't mean anything.
He's a great running back. I'll give him that. Justin Fields is a great running back. Bryce Young isn't even a great running back. So, we're going to – I can't wait. I cannot wait for 2 or 3 years from now. You come back and say, Mac, you were right. Bryce Young is a bust. I can't wait.
I don't think he's going to be a bust. I don't think bust. They got to put some things around him, especially in that offensive line.
They got to put another quarterback around him is what they got.
You guys going to welcome Pags on or what?
Well,
I just want to say something to Pags. The Eagle fans have been taken, they've been knocked a lot by people because of their behavior, because they're rude, they're this, they're that. but going to the Giant game yesterday and getting into the
Oh
parking
my
lot
God.
and trying to park my
You
car.
didn't give
These
me the mute.
Giant fans with tailgating is so selfish. They're taking up 3 spots. They're taking up all the empty spots, and I'm going forever around the lot trying to find a place to park my car because they're taking up all the spots, the
Hey, Matt.
tailgaters.
Hey, Jack and Matt. Do the Jets play at MetLife Stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was a
visit-
Giant home game. It was a Giant home game.
So it doesn't
That's
matter.
their all-
Somewhere the Jets had parking spaces.
Well,
There was a
technically
saying that
the
we had
Giant
in service.
season ticket holders, they took up a bulk of it.
Oh my God. This is what Jack.
We had a saying in the service. This is why. This is why. This is why. Bleeping why. Stop crying. Stop crying already. It's like it hasn't even gotten to the regular season yet. You're already crying.
Oh my goodness.
Let's get right to the football. Let me ask you point blank. Marcus Mariota's getting $5 million to be the backup. What's the deal? Is he going to be the primary backup or what?
Yes. Yes, it doesn't matter what happens. My thought is that if by chance something bad was to happen to Jalen Hurts, you'd have Mariota come in initially, but that following week, if he wasn't able to start, there would be maybe a competition between Mariota and the third string. But I would say that on the initial, Mariota is going to be the number 2. So that if he was to come in, that the offense, at least in theory, wouldn't change much.
Sounds about right to me. That's where they picked him up, to be the second string quarterback. Now, if he doesn't get his way, does he quit and walk off the field?
I think that he already isn't getting his way by being the starting quarterback, and I got to imagine that there was other stuff that was happening in Atlanta that forced him to not want to be there anymore.
He wasn't a troublemaker with the Titans and the Raiders, so something went down at Atlanta at the end of the year. I don't like the idea that he walked out, but if that's the only time it happened in his whole career, I wouldn't quite label him a troublemaker, but it does kind of put him on probation to an extent.
Yeah, I have never seen a quarterback walk off the field because he didn't get his way. I don't know. You guys can say what you want, but I've never seen that.
I agree with you on that, Mac.
Yeah. I mean,
he quit on his team.
Yeah, I say that. So, yeah, I mean, man, I don't care how bad the team is either. I've never seen that. So.
But guys are given second chances. Like I'm reading this book now, Dynasty, about the New England Patriots. Bill Parcells' last season with the Patriots, they went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Packers. He knew he was out the door, that he was quitting. He didn't even take the flight back with his team.
That is true.
That is bad. You take it, give a final goodbye to the guys. You lost the Super Bowl. He didn't fly back with them, the coach. It's not good.
No, that wasn't a good thing. No, he was excited about going to the Jets for some reason, Jack. And I can't figure it out why anybody would be excited about going to coach the Jets.
No, but you fly back with your team, even though
I don't disagree with
it.
I don't disagree with that at all. So hey guys, I do have the all-time NFC East all-star team here that we haven't got the offense in yet. I even got some special team players for you. So I want to get you guys' opinions on this. And again, remember, the whole thing about this is you either got to be a former player that played more years than any other team, or you have to be a player that has played for the team. You could be current, but you got to have played a lot of years for that team, okay? So I'm going to start with the offensive line. At center, I have Jason Kelsey. Anybody have a problem with that, being the starting center for the Cowboys, the Redskins, they all had good centers. But I picked Jason.
You're talking about the whole NFC?
NFC East.
Oh, yeah. NFC East. Okay.
Yes.
No problem.
At right guard, I got Christopher Allen from the Dallas Cowboys.
Larry Allen.
Larry Allen, sorry. At left guard, I got Nate Newton for the Dallas Cowboys. At left tackle, I got
so going back and forth with that, I'd have to go Barrett Brooks.
I wouldn't. I played.
I know you wouldn't, but I mean, he was
telling you the truth. He wasn't better than Nate Newton.
Really.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was listed as one of the best guards of
he wasn't
in the league.
Close.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're good. This is what I have: Super Bowls, All Pros, everything, appearances. I took that all in consideration. The Hogs got to be represented, right? So at right tackle, I got Joe Jacoby.
Yeah.
Left tackle Russ Grimm. So it's heavy Dallas and Washington.
Hold on, and we don't have Jason Peters in here. There's no Jason Peters.
No, Eric. Mark.
The Hawks dominated.
Yeah, the Hawks were pretty good. There's no question about that.
One of the best. Listen,
they were good. They were good, but
good. They were great.
Not to have Jason Peters in there, who was only listed as one of the best of all time. I mean, come on now.
These guys won 3 Super Bowls together, didn't they? The Hawks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I mean, they were like the San Francisco 49ers of yesterday. It didn't matter what quarterback you put in there. They would go to the Super Bowl. They were
good. There was yes. You didn't even mention Russ Grimm.
He's the I did. He's a left tackle. Jim.
Russ Grimm wasn't a tackle though. He was a guard.
He was a guard.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's what I'm saying.
You're right. I'm bad. My bad on that. At right tight end, I got Jason Witten. At left tight end, I got Zach Ertz.
I like Witten, but Marvero was pretty. Mark Marvero was a heck of a tackle.
He's in there. Remember, I got subs. I got subs, so we do have subs going in there. At wide receivers, now this I'm kind of hedging a little bit for Victor Cruz and Michael Irvin are my two.
No, Bullet Bob Hayes, I would put in ahead of Victor Cruz.
Michael. I played with Howard.
Howard Carmichael by far is better than Victor Cruz at any stretch. Mike Quick was better than Victor Cruz at any stretch.
Oh, Mike Quick was not better than Victor Cruz. Get out of here.
Oh my God, he was. Oh my God, he was
really good. I don't know, but there are other receivers that you could have put in.
Let me tell you, Matt.
You could have probably put T.O.
better than Victor Cruz. Homer Jones was better than Victor Cruz.
No, he was not. He was good. He's a great. Don't get me wrong. Great all time. But Victor Cruz was electrifying when he was on the field.
I mean, not for nothing. You could put Drew Pearson ahead of Victor Cruz in a lot of ways. So, and I'm not even a Drew Pearson fan.
Art what? Monk was pretty damn good too.
We're forgetting about guys like Bobby Mitchell. You know, you want to go back a ways.
Irving Fryer.
Yeah, Irving Fryer was really good.
Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz don't even sniff the top 5.
Pags, pay attention. What team did Irving Fryer play for?
He played for the Eagles.
And the Eagles.
The Patriots. He was better than the Patriots than the Eagles. That doesn't count. Running backs. I got Emmitt Smith and Tiki Barber, the starting running backs.
What about John Riggins? Come on.
John Riggins in.
John Riggins at his
Tony
best.
Dorsett was pretty good too, so you got some.
Yeah, Emmitt Smith, one of the greatest. Has the most yards.
Emmitt Smith has to be the number 1 on that list.
Right.
But once you get to number 2, there's so many other ones that can fit up there. I know you're trying to squeeze in as many Giants as you can onto your list, but that doesn't mean that they are any bit near the top 5.
You got nothing to say. Every great player is a Philadelphia Eagle to you.
That's not true. That's not true. I just said Emmitt Smith is number 1. I would put Riggins as number 2. So at least I can give credit where credit is due. Just because you guys have no idea. You made this list and said I got to put a Giant on here because the Giants stink so bad.
I at least give the other teams credit. You don't. Every player you talk about
is an Eagle.
That's it. That's all you talk about is Philadelphia. You give credit to nobody else.
How you holding up, Jack?
Well, all I'm saying, I just want to say this. You Pags, you don't give Mac credit for certain things. Case in point, last season, Mac felt
we're not going there. We're not going there right now, Jack. I know what exactly you're going to say.
Well, let me
we're not talking about that. We're talking about the all NFC.
Okay, let me say this. If you're talking about over career, yeah, you put Emmitt Smith number 1. But don't tell me at the top of their games that Emmitt Smith was better than John Riggins. John Riggins, you couldn't bring him down. He would be a nightmare for a guy like Jeffcoat.
That's not
John Riggins running at Jeffcoat would need help. Jeffcoat would need help to bring John Riggins down. Jeffcoat couldn't bring him down one-on-one.
Riggins was just a fullback playing during tailback.
Starting quarterback for the NFC East all-time team, Troy Aikman. Problems? 3 Super Bowls.
Yes. I mean, Staubach would have been a better quarterback than Troy Aikman there.
He didn't win as many Super Bowls as Troy Aikman.
Come on, man. Okay, then Troy Aikman's better than Dan Marino. Let's take him over Dan Marino.
Are we going to do NFC East?
But that's your guideline now.
Dan Marino had better stats, but how many Super Bowls did he win?
If you're not going to talk about NFC East, you're muted. We're talking about the NFC East, Jack. All right? It's hard enough getting Pags on board with anybody else but an Eagle right now. So let's just keep pushing forward. So, backup, Eli Manning. Problem with that?
Yeah.
Of course there is. Because it's not Randall Cunningham. Tell me. Go ahead. Say it.
I don't even have Randall on the list.
What about Ron Jaworski?
Not even on the list.
The third stringer, Phil Simms. Problem with that?
Wait. You know, you
hold on. Let's put the whole Giants team on there. Everybody's a Giant, and there is nobody any good on any other team. Get this frig out of here. I think this is so fugazi.
I knew this. Would take you off.
Heisman, guys?
What about Joe Heisman? Joe Heisman is not in the discussion with Troy Aikman, Eli Manning, and Phil Simms. He's not even in the discussion.
We never talked about Staubach.
Ben DiNucci should be on that list. He should definitely be the third stringer. Ben DiNucci.
That's the only place you got me. So I agree. Roger Staubach should have been on that list. Okay, so let's go to the backups, which a lot of guys you're talking about. So this is going to be a good one for Pags. I've got the backup center being Bart Oates for the New York Giants, 5-time Super Bowl winner, All-Pro. Got a problem with that, Pags, or you want to put your Eagle center in there?
What teams was he 5-time?
Well, 2. Well, it's 3-time. My bad. 5-time All-Pro.
Wait. Pags, you're gonna like this selection. Can I say something? Why you're gonna like this selection? Because Bart Oates was also the center for the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. So he's one of yours.
I remember him there. That's what I'm saying. I remember him there, but I don't remember him as a 5-time Super Bowl champion.
Also,
2-time Super Bowl champ, and with the 49ers also.
Good player. I like Bart.
Yeah, I know that he was a great player. I mean, so I'm not. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But
left guard, Brandon Brooks from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Barrett Brooks.
Yes.
Garrett Brooks. Barrett Brooks played more for the Steelers. That's when he won. He wasn't
Brandon Brooks. I said Brandon Brooks.
Brandon Brooks was the guard.
Okay. Right tackle backup, Rosie Brown. Any problem with that?
I never seen him.
I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, he used to play for. He's a famer for the Giants.
Left guard, Zach Martin.
That's you can't argue with it.
No one's better than him.
All right. So the backup tight end I got is Mark Bavaro, and the left tight end, Jackie Smith from the old St. Louis Cardinals. He also played with the Dallas Cowboys.
Right, they were in the NFC East.
Yes.
That's hard to argue with.
All right. The backup running.
Wait a second. You want to go back a while with the East? I'm a little confused. If you want to go back years with the realignment, what about John Mackey when he played for the Baltimore Colts, the tight end, for example?
But it wasn't NFC East. This is all.
But it wasn't. They weren't given.
Let's see. I warned. Did I warn them, guys? I said NFC East, right? I did say it. I muted him once. All right, Jack, pay attention, please. All right.
Yeah, but I just say one thing, and then you can mute me again. But the NFL used to be just an Eastern and Western division. So technically, John Mackey was in the NFC East in the past when he played with Johnny Unitas.
Well, there you go. Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. So the backup running backs I have are Brian Westbrook and John Riggins. Pretty good, right? I know you want Tony Dorsett.
I don't.
So as I think about this, it's hard for me to say that Shady McCoy is behind Westbrook. No, I'm not a Shady McCoy fan in that regards. I mean, he was a great running back, but I'm not a fan of his personally. But I still have to put him as a better running back than Westbrook.
Overall, though, Pax, receiving out of the backfield.
That's what I'm saying. Overall, he was a better running back than Westbrook. Although Westbrook was what made Westbrook a little bit more versatile was that he actually returned kicks.
Right.
And that was really the biggest difference. But I mean, as far as just a running back goes, even catching passes out of the backfield and stuff like that, Shady was a better running back. I have to just say that as a real thing. You know what I mean?
All right.
And then I got to say, the best running back they ever played with was Tony Dorsett. It ain't even close. And I like Emmett, but Tony Dorsett he could change the game in a second.
And so could Emmitt Smith.
Yeah. Emmett, but Tony was scary when he got out in the open because he just was a blur. And he was tough as nails. Pittsburgh kid from Steel Country, and he played like that.
Yeah, he played. He was
nothing against Emmett. I'm just telling you. I always thought Dorsett was.
So
Herschel Walker fall into that mix anywhere?
He didn't play that. I mean, he played with Dallas. He played with Minnesota for a long time.
Philadelphia.
Played for Philly for a while. I mean, he wasn't really with a team that as long as some of these guys is what I.
He was a better college, and I love Hurst, but he was
and that's why I'm asking. Does it fall into the list somewhere?
He was a better college than the NFL.
One of the best college players of all time.
He was a hell of a special teams guy, believe it or not.
Well, he went to the New Jersey Generals out of college. People forget that. That's where he started his career.
Very true. Very true. My backup wide receivers, especially for the red zone, the first one backup will be Harold Carmichael. I would put him down in the red zone all the time. 6'7". I mean, I think that's how tall he was. About that tall.
The fact that you got him better than Victor Cruz is ridiculous. Victor Cruz is ridiculous.
Yeah, Victor Cruz is not as good as Harold Carmichael.
Victor Cruz could run out of the slot. You know what I'm saying? He was more
versatile. Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame.
Was Harold Carmichael?
Just that alone. Harold Carmichael is in the Hall of Fame. Victor Cruz is not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that's what I was saying about Dorsett. You got a Hall of Famer sitting there. One of the best.
You just like Tony Dorsett overall. My other backup would be Art Monk, the best wide receiver. He led the league for receiving yards and receptions at one time. So Art Monk's got to be up in there. I did go John Riggins. I did have for our short yardage, especially the short yardage. He could break away and make a long run too. So I did put the special teams in there. At punter, Danny White. And why? Because he could play quarterback too.
No, then I'd have to go. Hold on, I'd have to go with the best punter of all time. He's got the longest punt ever in the NFL.
I got him on the roster. Randall Cunningham. I got him on the roster, Pax. Right?
But Danny White, backup punter.
Danny White. He's like my trick guy play. Danny White was a very good punter, Jack. Well, no matter what
he goes to the championship game 3 times.
And he was a very good.
He wasn't as good a punt as Sean Landetta. Danny White. He wasn't.
I would go with that.
He played quarterback too, so that was a novelty, but it doesn't make him the best punter.
But he would be on my team as the punter, Jack.
It's his team. He could put
it.
Come up with your team.
You can hold a roster spot.
Come up,
but
hey, Jack, come up with your team, and then we'll make fun of your team, all right?
That's right.
Well, your team's pretty good all in all, but I'm just mentioning the punting position.
My kicker is Mark Mosley. You're all going to freak. He's the only kicker in the history of football that was an MVP. He's automatic.
I'm going to tell you, we went to the game last night in Gano. I mean, he seems invincible. 4 for 4, 2 kicks from 56 and 57 yards, splitting the uprights. And he was a great kicker for him, last year.
And again, I'd have to say, only the guy who's got the most points of the NFC East in general would be David Akers, who has the highest percentage and stuff like that. But was never an MVP because they don't give MVP to kickers anymore.
Well, they should, right? I mean, they should be qualified to get an MVP. But Mark Mosley was, I mean, if it wasn't for him in 1972, Washington Redskins don't go to Super Bowl. They don't go.
Well, so. Bill Parcells' favorite kicker was Matt Barr. Who could forget his 5 field goals when they beat the 49ers 15-13 to go to the Super Bowl.
Listen, I agree with you. Our kickoff returner is Deshaun Jackson.
No.
Over Meggett? Over David Meggett?
No, and I'm saying over Brian Mitchell?
Yes.
No way. No way. Brian Mitchell. Hey, and listen, and I know he only played on the Eagles for a couple of years, but he was amazing with Washington, and he was the holder until you ran up with that guy from Chicago.
Devin Hester.
Hester.
He was the best of all time until Devin Hester.
Deshaun,
and listen, and Deshaun Jackson was a great kickoff returner because specifically that he beat the Giants a couple of times. But
I'm with Jack on this one. I'm going at peak value right now. That's Jack's favorite phrase. Peak value. I give it to Deshaun Jackson. And a punt returner. Here's an old one for you. Terry Metcalf.
He was pretty good. St. Louis.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you guys have my full list.
Was that David's brother or David's father?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact.
David Metcalf.
Yeah.
I thought Terry was his father.
Speaking of which, Rice's son is playing for the Steelers. Caught a touchdown yesterday. Very interesting. Jerry Rice's son.
Jerry Rice's son is in USC.
Well, then he caught a touchdown for USC. Remember, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare today.
Man, Mac, that's quite a change. He caught a touchdown from the Steelers, and then he caught a touchdown from USC. That's not even close, Mac.
Well, well, according to Jim,
you got the wrong NFL team. We could condone that.
According to Jim, college football teams could be professional football teams. So that's
not what I said.
That's
not exactly what I said.
So, Pickles.
So I gotta ask. I know. I'm late to the party here. So is Dak in trouble?
No.
Is Dak in trouble? Is he about to lose his job?
No, he is.
No, how could he lose it to Trey Lance now?
It was a value pick. It was a value. If he's good, then you got somebody for the future. If he's not, you cut him. It's not. He's going to be a third-team quarterback.
But you don't, Jim. But you don't part with the 4th round.
Actually, he's the worst quarterback that's ever been drafted.
He is. He's right up there. He's in the top 5 anyway. He hasn't played yet. He hasn't even played yet. He hasn't even played yet. How can you say anything? At least Ryan Leaf played.
Guys.
I'm not worried about what.
They took him in the 4th. They gave up a 4th round selection. Just think of the history of the NFL drafts and teams that didn't need a quarterback that picked someone in the 4th round. The Cowboys picked Dak Prescott in the 4th round when they didn't need a starting quarterback because he was a value pick out of college. And look what happened. Look at the year that the Redskins picked RG3 with the number 2 overall pick in the draft. In the 4th round that same year, they took Kirk Cousins. That was a value pick because you never know where you might need the guy. And look what happened. Both teams wound up with franchise quarterback. Let me ask you a question.
Who drafted RG3?
You're talking about Daniel Snyder, you mean?
No, Shanahan did.
Daniel Snyder had to sign off on it.
I didn't know that's how it works, Jim. Jim, does it work when you
He
make a
was talking
draft?
on anything. He was too busy
I
looking
don't
at
think
the cheerleaders.
Shanahan. No, Jim. I know what
Yeah.
you're saying. I think John Lynch has the final say with the 49ers. Shanahan can't overrule him. I think when push comes to
They
shove,
busted.
John Lynch
They made
has a little
terrible
more
mistake
power
that year.
there.
This kid didn't play that much in college. He did not play that much, and then he hasn't played that much in the NFL. You don't know what you're getting.
No,
Well, what you're getting out of Anthony Richardson with the Indianapolis Colts, same situation.
That is true. We're gonna find out, though.
But he's playing. But he's
he
playing.
won't be.
That is true.
Listen, any quarterback who's a great running quarterback can survive in the league, isn't going to be a flop. Any quarterback who really has a great set of legs and good instincts when to run, when to hit the opening. Because like I've said, elite running quarterbacks are like having a great, halfback, fullback, or whatever.
That's interesting you say that because we always talk about Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson is a talent. Don't get me wrong. But what happened to him? He started getting injuries from running the ball and getting hit.
It was less getting hit than these guys cutting, pulling muscles, It's not so much what the opposition was doing to them, it's what they were doing to themselves.
What are you talking about? Jackson took over.
A lot of the quarterback injuries are not the result of getting hit.
Yeah, you're talking about Jackson. We're not talking about the majority of quarterbacks.
I'm talking about,
Jackson would take on the defenders. That's why he got hurt.
Yeah.
It's not because he was pulling hamstrings running down the sideline.
You got to know a little better, too, not to go head on, when to go down. That has a lot to do with instincts.
Yeah.
Like we saw yesterday at the game when Isaiah Simmons was after him, Aaron Rodgers was losing his balance. He didn't try to regain his balance. He just, threw the ball out of bounds. It's all instincts. Look at that long run that Zach Wilson had the week before, the 35-yard run. He had his chances to go down, but he, went head on, basically, lowered his shoulder. That has to do with instincts.
Well, yeah, it has to do with being a competitive football player.
It's a split-second decision. That separates, the elite guys from the guys who are less so.
But you look at, just use Kyler Murray who has great mobility. But you remember what happened. Now he probably is between them and the Rams are going to get the first pick in the draft. And
he may not play, Jim. He may not play this year.
I know. That's what I'm hearing too.
Mm-hmm. So
the problem is with mobile quarterbacks, you're open to getting hit. You're going to get hit by some big guys too, coming full speed.
I kind of wonder with Kyler Murray. He was a two-sport athlete. The Oakland Athletics wanted him in the worst way for him to be their shortstop. At this point, he's young. Could he actually go back to baseball if he wanted to? Has that window closed?
I don't know.
Me either. I have no idea, but Pickles is right. Arizona is a dumpster fire. Speaking of mobile quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts makes the cover of Sports Illustrated NFL preview, guys.
And he deserves to.
I think so, too. We had Keith on Pags, and he was, I think he's scared to death of the Eagles the first game. The way he's carrying on. Their offensive line is terrible. That could be a
when you decide not to play your quarterback because you're afraid of the offensive line not protecting, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I get the feeling, Pags, and you're going to like this. Game 1, I mentioned it before, that the Eagles are going to blow the Patriots out, that it's going to be an ugly loss for New England. And I think of all the teams that might lose week 1 badly, it would create the biggest stir if it happened in New England. Hypothetically, if it happened the opposite way, I doubt if it would. If the Patriots blew the Eagles out, beat them by 4 touchdowns, the Eagles would just reset for next week. They'd be upset, but they would be resolute. But I think all over New England, people are going to question Belichick, Mac Jones. I just think it's going to snowball.
I disagree with that statement entirely. if the Eagles were to get blown out by 4 touchdowns by the Patriots, there would be upheaval to the nth degree in Philadelphia.
But they wouldn't be calling for Sirianni's head. They wouldn't be saying replace.
No, they wouldn't be
Hurts.
going for his head, but they would be rethinking everything. Everything.
Oh, no, but that's what any.
It would be the worst thing in the world if they lost by 4 touchdowns to New England. This is a team we should beat handily, and if they were to get upset a profound number, even if they lose this game, it's going to be a big deal. There's no reason for the Patriots to beat us. And I tell you, you could say, all right, well, they're doing the Brady thing. Every time that a team has this ceremony, 9 times out of 10, they lose that week because they're so worried about the ceremony. They're not really worried about the team playing. They're going to get all this excitement and stuff like that. And it doesn't happen that way.
No, there you go. So when Andre Ware goes into the Ring of Honor, I guess Dallas is losing that game.
DeMarcus Ware.
Oh, speaking of that Ring of Honor, there's like to talk about Jimmy Johnson and Dallas with the Ring of Honor. And until Jimmy Johnson gets in the Ring of Honor, it's always going to come up no matter who.
Oh, no question. And I disagree with that. I think he should be in there.
He should, but let me play devil's advocate. He was a Cowboy for 5 years. That's not a long time. That's not quite a career. I understand the level of.
But he won 3 Super Bowls in those 5 years.
Two Super Bowls.
He only won 2.
You know what gets me with guys like Jim?
Well, you might as well say he won 3 because Switzer won with his team, Jimmy Johnson's team.
Pags, this is what I love about Pags. He's the most logical guy on this panel. A case in point would be this. When the Cowboys lose with Jim on their team, when they lost to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, this was the year after Jimmy Johnson left.
Yeah,
they lost with Barry Switzer's team, but the year after, when they win with Barry Switzer, they won with Jimmy Johnson's team.
I know.
Jim can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
You want it both ways, Jim. You can't have it both ways. If they lost with Barry, then they lost with Jimmy Johnson's team. In your last year with the Cowboys, you lost with Jimmy Johnson's team then.
Yes.
Okay.
But Jimmy Johnson wasn't coaching it.
I mean, I don't go for that. I mean, Jimmy Johnson did a heck of a job there at the end with Dallas.
How well did he do in Miami?
He should be in the Ring of Honor, excuse me.
Jack, whose team did the Jets, which coach's team did the Jets win the Super Bowl with?
Weeb Eubank.
Okay.
And Weeb Eubank won 2 NFL championships with the Colts, over the Giants in the championship games. But Weeb Eubank was the type of coach, even though he had 3 championships, they didn't have a lot of regular season success otherwise. Compare that to Joe Gibbs, maybe the most underrated coach in NFL history. He won 3 Super Bowls, but his teams would always be highly competitive otherwise.
What?
Joe Gibbs.
What do you mean they won 3 Super Bowls, but they would be highly competitive otherwise?
No, in other seasons they didn't win the Super Bowl. They would have decent teams at least.
Well, yes. So did the Eagles, and so did the Giants.
But the Jets wouldn't. That'd be certain. Yes, the Jets would have.
Okay, I get
weak team.
So you compare to Yes, I got you. I got you now.
But Buddy Ryan, let me tell you, Buddy Ryan.
You always tell us this.
He swore by Weeb Eubank. Buddy Ryan trashed every other coach all the time. He trashed Tom Landry, everyone. The one coach he respected was Weeb Eubank. We coached under. He'd always say, if Weeb says it, it's good enough for me.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
Weeb Eubank, he's one of your guys, Pax. Yeah, Weeb Eubank. He wasn't that bad as the Eagle head coach. They did go to the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Was that when you were born?
I was going to say, this has got to be way before my time.
Buddy Ryan, I meant coach the Eagles.
I meant Buddy Ryan.
I meant Buddy Ryan. I meant Buddy Ryan coached the Eagles there. But
yeah. Well, I mean, I was there for Buddy Ryan. I remember that. You know, he had a great defense and Randall Cunningham.
Whenever he
Imagine
does
that.
it back-
Imagine if Randall actually had like any offensive line and somebody to throw the ball to. Like that would have he had Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson was one of the best tight ends. He wound up playing in Green Bay, which is the reason why you can't put him on the tight end list. But you know, for the 4 years that he was in Philly, he was. I would say he was by far.
Yeah, Keith Byers.
Well, Keith Byers was a running back, you know, and was a beast. I mean, still is a beast.
Yeah,
he still is a beast.
Wasn't Mike Quick on that team?
He got hurt. That's why Keith Jackson wound up being as good as he was, because he took over for Mike Quick, and Mike Quick never came back really.
Right. I remember that. I definitely remember that. So, any Cowboy news besides Trey Lance and your Zach Martin? How about your running back position there, Jim? What's going on there?
Pollard is going to be the starter. Rico McDowell is going to be the second team. Obviously, Ronald Jones is out for the first 2 games. I don't know what that situation is. And Deuce Vaughn is going to have a position. I don't think he'll play. I mean, you can't. He is not the other little guy. I'm just telling you, because that guy can run.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
I don't like him. It's tough. And you got a 5'5" running back. That's hard.
Hey, there's been short running backs in the league that were pretty good, Jim.
Yeah, there has.
Okay.
But very few at 5'5".
Well, it's hard to tackle the shorter running back.
Like, that's the purpose, that he gets lost in the mix.
Then that's what they're saying, but still, that's going to be tough.
Joe Morris is 5'8".
But he's 5'5", and how much? How much does he weigh?
185 pounds.
Good size.
If he was closer to 200, I would give it that, because that means.
But Joe Morris was like 215, 220.
Yeah, even when I think of Sproles. Sproles at 5'7" was close to 200 pounds. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
But he's a rookie. But he's a rookie, Pags. He's just for.
And I'll give him that. Hey, listen, I don't begrudge nobody. Look at Spud Webb. Spud Webb in basketball, and I know I'm comparing oranges and kumquats, but it's
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he's going to put on weight. He's going to put on muscle within the next year or so. He'll get up close to 200.
I think it's going to be difficult to, and I'm not saying it negative against the kid, because the kid has made some plays, but it is going to be hard. Because just for example, you're playing Philadelphia. They got a 350-pound defensive tackle. Could you imagine?
He's a monster. He's a beast. He's going to win Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
No, I'm not talking about Jalen Carter. I'm talking about the other kid you drafted the year before from Georgia.
N'Kobe Dean?
No, Dean's too small. He's talking about Jordan Davis.
Yeah. Jordan Davis. And he weighs, what, 350?
Yeah, 345 or something like that, 342.
Yeah. They got Deuce Vaughn at 5'5", 180 pounds. And that's what I'm just saying. Saying is a negative.
I know Dave Megan only weighed like $185 too. I mean, they can make some plays.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't make plays. I'm not saying it, but it's going to be.
He's not going to be your starting running back.
Use him as an every down back.
I tell you, it's just like so. I mean, it's just like our hurdler, the hurdler on the Eagles right now. He's awful.
Devon Allen.
And it's a shame. It's a shame he can't catch the ball. That's his problem, because once he gets the ball in his hands, nobody can catch him.
And can you imagine he gets Pags in the open and he has a chance to hurdle over someone?
Oh, no doubt in my mind. I bet you he'd be able to jump right over me.
The Eagles are going to get tested by the Cowboys secondary. If Stephen Gilmore's not long in the tooth, if Stephen Gilmore's his old self, him and Diggs at the corners, Brown and Devontae Smith are going to be challenged there. They're not going to have it easy against the Cowboys secondary.
Listen, I relish the time that we're up against the Cowboys. I can't wait. I can't wait.
We're up against the Eagles.
Well, let me tell you something. You're lucky in a sense that the Jets are going to soften the Cowboys up by putting a beating on them in game 2 of the regular season. Now, I don't know, will that help the Cowboys? Will they need to come back stronger than ever? Or will it, sap them of their confidence? Because when Aaron Rodgers is done dissecting them, you could do whatever's left of the Cowboys.
Well, I tell you, we don't play them until week 9?
Yeah.
So then it won't matter. That's too far off.
Yeah,
Well,
because after we whip up on the Jets, then we'll whip up on the Cowboys.
Well, I don't think so.
You don't think the Jets
You figure after Dallas loses their first game, whoever plays them second.
Let me tell you. Oh.
Hey, Jetman! Oh, no.
Speaking of the Jets and Jetman, look, he's in a different costume this time. He's got a jersey on.
Different uniform, Max. Show respect.
I pretty much don't have a costume. This is the Clark Kent of Jetman.
Okay.
I'm not all dolled up as we're still in preseason.
Right. So, any thoughts on yesterday's games against the Giants there, Jetman?
Yeah, it's a warm up. I kind of was hoping the Jets would lose so that they win in 2 months when they play each other for real. When the Jets do well in preseason, it usually equates to a bad season. So I'd prefer them. They're not like the Ravens, who I think won 23 games in a row or something.
Yeah,
24.
But the Ravens have had good teams, though, over the years. I mean, they haven't won Super Bowls during that streak, but they have gone to the playoffs. It's not like they flopped.
And good morning, everyone. Nice
Good
to see
morning,
you.
Jetman. Yes, sir. So that was the Giants' plan all along, Jetman. That's why they played all their backups to let them win so that they get overconfident for the regular season game. So that was the whole plan there.
How excited are you about the not you specifically, but about the Jets defense and their?
Let me ask you a question, Jetman. In the first season, month of the season, they play Buffalo, Dallas, New England, and then October 1st they play Kansas City. What is the Jets' record going to be?
Followed by the Eagles after that, like on the 15th.
Yeah.
Can you say 4-0?
4-0?
Yeah, I like this.
Jetman, you got something in there.
What did he say? Over? An over? He's going an over.
Let him speak. He feels the Jets are going to win all those games. And who's to say they won't?
Somebody's drinking. You might be taking the same coffee, Jack.
No, I mean, listen, 4-0, I got to disagree. 3-1 would be more like it in my view. But
so, yeah, they're going to probably beat Denver. So
now you guys did see ESPN released, their predictions as they do every year. You saw they picked Buffalo with 13 wins, the Jets with 12, and Miami with 11. I think they're a little confused. They reverse Buffalo and the Jets. As I think the only loss in the AFC East is one against Miami, as we sweep Buffalo and we sweep the Patriots for the first time in years.
Aaron Rodgers.
What's that?
Who's going to block for him with offensive line?
Did you see him last night? How he throws the ball like a cat. Gets rid of the ball.
Listen, I was there, man. Me and Jack were at the game. There was no starters in for the Giants. So, I mean, how do you explain that him almost getting sacked by Simmons? He gets an interference call to set him up because ESPN wants some ratings so that he has a chance to throw a touchdown against our third-string cornerback. So, how do you explain that?
Did you see him to Garrett Wilson?
Yeah,
against our third-string defensive back. Yeah, that's
I tell you, you better hope that you guys aren't like the other team that ends in "ets" in New York, like the Mets. Because anytime that the Jets have this, hey, we got all these expectations, just like the Mets Mets it up, the Jets it up. That's right. They got to jettison the season because it's not going to work out. I would hope that you guys can win 10 games. And I'll be honest, and
Right.
it's gonna rely on your coach. I think that you guys do have the talent, but it's going to require your coach and the offensive coordinator calling the correct plays, because I
Well,
think
that's-
that's going to be part of the problem. I
So
think
that's
that you guys
Aaron
are just
Rodgers
You know what?
in both respects. He's
Jets-
the coach. He's the offensive coordinator as well.
You know,
Packages
Jets
is-
man. You know what the problem is, Jets man, with these other guys. Not you. These other guys. They keep talking offense. They don't respect defense. And the Jets have maybe the best defensive unit in the NFL, arguably. We'll see. But they're amongst the best.
Top
And the
five.
Jets defensive unit's going to be ball hawking all game long. We hear
You know what
the
I heard
Giants
last
suggest-
year? Who's the best defense last year? You know who I heard was the best defense was the 49ers. Where did they wind up? Oh, that's right.
They
got
had
spanked.
quarterback injuries there. They were never given a chance in the
Hold
final.
on. They had the best defense with a backup with a third string quarterback. They beat the Dallas Cowboys and only scored 14 points. Since when does the defense have to hold back 38 points or 31 points?
The only difference is I think we have a pretty good quarterback this year.
You do have a better quarterback. I mean, there hasn't been such a good quarterback since the butt fumble.
Watch this. Wait a minute. How old is Aaron Rodgers? He's 39 years old.
39 years old.
He looked terrible last year. I mean, he looked terrible with Green Bay last year. He took all his receivers from Green Bay and brought them to the Jets. I mean, he can't run the ball anymore at all. So I mean, you guys are pumping up Aaron Rodgers like he's going to be this great quarterback this year.
Now if you know anything about the Jets, Jetman, the whole thing, I've been a fan for 50 years. I've never gone into a season optimistic. Never have I thought the Jets would do well. I'm always take the low road. I always pessimistic and they're going to be 6 wins if we're lucky. This year is the perfect storm. Aaron Rodgers will have the best season of his career. There is no more time.
That means
2 years.
I would love.
2 years,
I
he
want
was
him back
mediocre.
on. I want you back on before you guys play the Eagles.
I can't
I
wait.
wanna hear you say that again.
We have never beaten the Eagles in the regular season. Never.
Ever.
In the history of football. Hello, 2023.
Yeah.
Get ready. Get ready.
Well, you said
Aaron Rodgers does not have a good record against the Eagles.
You said, Jetman, that you've been a Jet fan for 50 years. So I want to ask you some questions.
When you're a Jet, you're a Jet all the way.
We're doing the all NFC. We're doing the all NFC East team. Well, I did my team. So I want to ask you, put together the Jets all-time team. So if you were to have the all-time quarterback, and he's got to play for the Jets for a while. He can't just be like Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't played for a while. So who would be, of course, I know the answer. Who is the best Jets quarterback of all time?
Ken O'Brien.
It's a mixed bag. You got to go Namath, but growing up, believe it or not, I loved Richard Todd. Now his record doesn't speak. The Mud Bowl, AJ Due, 2 pick interceptions. They lose 14-0, but I loved Richard Todd. But yes,
he was bad towards the end, though. I like Chad Pennington a little more, in all honesty, than Richard Todd.
That's what I was thinking, Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
I think you give it the Namath. You got to give it.
Testaverde didn't play long enough.
Right.
Butt fumble.
Denver.
I mean, you can't answer the question. It's like hypothetically, you could say.
Can't, Jack. I'm not asking you the Jets all-time team.
I said name it.
Special guys. So who's your best running back of all time?
Martin.
Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Who would you say is the all-time best Jet?
Right.
Every position available.
Joe Klecko.
I think Mark Gastineau.
Darrelle Revis?
And I think Mark Gastineau. When I think of all the Jets, every Jet out there, Mark Gastineau is the guy I think of.
Darrelle Revis.
Very selfish player. Very selfish. Very talented. One-dimensional, but yeah.
I think Darrell Revis is a good answer too.
He's good too, but also selfish. Left the team, played for the Patriots, came back. I don't know. Yeah, but
right.
on the field, talent, yes, he's top 5.
Your best wide receiver ever. Again, he's had to play for the Jets for a while.
Krebet.
No. What about Don Maynard?
Altoon.
A little bit before my time.
Altoon is, yeah, decent choice. Yeah, but
Altoon.
Don Maynard, I would think.
That's what I was going with.
Yeah, going back to the Super Bowl era.
All right. So on defense, best cornerback guaranteed. Darrell Revis. I think that he's
no argument. Yeah.
Who would be your best safety of all time, Jeff?
Well, just one thing. The Jets had a great cornerback the year they won the Super Bowl, and Johnny Sample, their captain of their defensive unit. Honorable mention to him. He was with the Baltimore Colts when they won their 2 championships, 2 on the Weebu Bank.
Jack cannot let the Jetman have any airtime here.
I just want to go off the Jetman likes when I give credit to former Jet greats, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, before my time, but yeah.
See, even Chris covers Buffalo, and he's saying that the Jets could win the AFC East.
Well, good for Chris. That's good for Chris. You know, they could also come in last in the AFC East. So that's.
I'd be willing to bet that they don't. I could bet you that New England's going to be in last place.
I bet you the Jets don't win the division. How's that? I'll bet you that.
No, I won't take that bet.
All right then. Okay, I won't take that the Jets will be last.
Well, who's the best safety? We know who's the best corner.
Yeah, who's the best safety you got, Jetman?
Oh, I don't know.
I could go back into the past and say Jim Hudson from their Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah.
He's outstanding.
Jack, how many guys on this whole staff or any on this know who Jim Hudson was?
You know, you used to laugh when they told you stories
Jim Henson,
about
wasn't he
Bob
the one that
Lilly when you were
developed
with
the
the Cowboys. That's the problem. Players, especially old players, they don't have respect for the guys that came before them. If I brought Jim to meet Thibodeau to talk him about how you pressure the quarterback, Thibodeau would say, "Who is this old guy?" He wouldn't even be paying attention to
probably
Jim.
wasn't. So,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I don't know who Jim Hudson is. I'm sorry.
Jim
Yes,
Hudson,
yes.
yeah.
Hudson. Do you know?
All right,
Jim Henson,
No,
he developed
I-
Kermit the Frog.
Hudson, not Henson. Hudson.
I
love it when I can get under. I love it when I can get under Jack's
What
skin.
about Jamal Adams? Jamal Adams, he was
he didn't play
probably the
long,
best,
right?
maybe the best safety, I guess. If
He didn't
he's
play long.
valuable.
But he wasn't. Yeah, he was only there for what, 2 years?
Well,
only here for
but he
like
was
2
the
years, I
league.
think.
Look what
We
they
gotta
got.
go, guys. We gotta get the rest of them. I want to hear this.
Yeah, who was
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
who-
so
Victor Green was
your
good
best
for a
tight
while,
end.
but not a
Your best.
superstar.
Okay, your best tight end.
Schuler.
This is hard for Jets. You know, every time I ask him who's the best of
Anthony
all time,
Beck.
it's really hard.
Mickey
Beck.
Schuler was great. He was a great tight end.
I'm
They
a big
never
fan
had
of
a
Anthony
great
Beck.
tight end, the
Who?
Jets.
He
The
was
more
a
you
good
think
tight end,
of it.
like a Schuler. So
Anthony Beck.
Then
He
they
was
didn't
that
have a
good.
tight end.
Upper
Like
Upper Darby,
28
Upper Darby's finest. Staying with Delco.
No, the Jets have never had a
what-
great
see-
tight end in their whole history.
I can't remember.
Anthony
who
Beck,
was
that's what I'm
safety.
saying, Anthony Beck.
Yeah. See, look at that.
Yeah, he was about maybe the best,
See,
but
look at-
he
see-
wasn't a great tight end.
I got to
Green
bring in
was-
Pickles to help you guys.
Victor Green was a good safety.
Victor Green at
He
safety.
was.
I think Pickles is helping you guys out. All right, so your best pass rusher, you probably say Gastineau, even though he was selfish, right? I think he was probably your best pass rusher of
Was
all
he
time.
better than
That-
Klecko? Was Gastineau better than Klecko? Was a pass rusher? I'm asking. I think he was marginally better, actually.
Wasn't Klecko better against the run, though? Like,
Yeah.
Klecko had a lot of tackles.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
I
a
mean, he was a
run
nose
stopper
tackle.
primarily.
He was right. He clogged the middle and caught and freed up Gastineau to do what he
Right.
did.
No, and I get that. I mean, there's absolutely argument for both sides of that. But I think I look at Klecko as more as a tackle that he clogged up the middle
That's what I
and
always
was
thought of him as.
Yeah, not really. Like he
Yeah,
got to the
until-
quarterback sometimes, but not really. He was more of
there
the
you
guy.
go. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he did. Once in a while, he landed up at that, and I've seen that. So behind Klecko and that great sacks exchange, who was your best linebacker of all time? You think, Jetman?
I think I got one.
My tongue is I don't know if he's the best. Mo Lewis was
Lewis.
great.
It was good. And the one that's on one of those
This was good.
television show was good too.
Marvin Jones was good, but I don't know, he was great. He was a good compliment to Mo Lewis.
I like Mo Lewis. Yeah.
I think Mo Lewis. I like Mo Lewis as that
He
too.
was a good player.
So all right, and last one for you. Who was the greatest Jets coach of all time?
Oh, that's no question who that was.
It's not easy.
You know what? I know I might get a chuckle. I really liked Rex Ryan, and I think if he were the coach now, I'm a little concerned about Saleh. I hope that he.
What about Bill Parcells?
Yeah,
I mean,
not there long enough.
Bill Belichick. He had the best day of coaching ever.
well, Bill Parcells took, I mean, a
coach for 2 hours
in tournament for 9-17. There, you know, it depends on what you're looking for. Like you said before, best running back. If I threw this name out at you, LaDainian Tomlinson, wasn't he with the Jets a couple of years? So he did play for him a couple of years, but no one
long enough. Not long enough, Jack.
Yeah, and he was hurt a lot. He was hurt a lot with the Jets.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
got to be a player that's been there.
Hey, Jetman, here's my question for you. Along the
least,
same line, who's been the biggest hype? I mean, we got Aaron Rodgers now, and now, of course, that's most current biggest hype.
No,
who's been the biggest hype to go to the Jets to not really do what he was supposed to? Because there's been a lot of them going over the years.
Johnny Mitchell and Tim Tebow.
No,
remember Johnny Mitchell?
Tebow never made the team, actually, did he? As I recall, he got cut.
But you remember
he played 1 year. He played 1 year, but then he didn't really play at all, and then he got cut after that.
At 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, CBS, NBC, ABC had a special announcement on like a Monday afternoon. They stopped all television and they said, there's a special announcement for the New York Jets. And they said the Jets are signing Tim Tebow. Ruined Sanchez's career. I mean, absolutely ruined.
That's
red light, green light system, terrible.
That caused the butt fumble because they were signing Tim Tebow.
No, they didn't. They didn't give Tebow up. Rex Ryan never gave Tebow really an opportunity. What about Blair Thomas? He came to the Jets with high expectations from
I can see that. Yeah,
didn't quite pan out.
I don't know if anyone remembers Johnny Mitchell was a tight end, a really good-looking kid. He could have been a model, and he was absolutely horrific.
Jetman.
I remember his number. That was number 8.
Zach Wilson, could he fit into the equation as, the biggest? I hate to use the word bust.
That's such a thorn in our side this year. I've been screaming and preaching and saying he needs to be the third string. We cannot have him back up. If Rodgers goes down and is out for 5 games, we could lose 6 games with Wilson under center. He is terrible. He's not ready. He is not ready.
Boy looked better than him last night, though, the third stringer.
And everyone's saying, he looks so good. He deserves it. Come on, it's preseason. It's preseason. Same as you were saying a minute ago, Mac.
Listen, you said this before, Jetman. When Zach Wilson played, he had a winning record with the Jets. So it's not all about the quarterback. You guys got a great
winning record,
a good running game. Yeah, he did have a winning record.
Command of
now,
the offense,
there was like 5 games, right?
So how much has the hype about Rodgers been similar to the hype about Favre?
Yeah, very similar. It's like it's coming full circle. It's the same as it was. And if you look, after Favre got hurt and went down, he had his best season as a quarterback with the Vikings the next year. Went to the NFC Championship.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's going back to the Rodgers, says, the last 2 years he's getting older, he hasn't looked as good. He is rejuvenated. He's the first time he's with a new team in 18 years. Tom Brady is retired. It's now all on him. All eyes are on him to have a good year. I'm telling you, this is his season. 50 touchdown passes, 5,000 yards, 5 on Monday Night Football against the Bills, 38-13 Jets.
Wow.
13 wins this season if he stays healthy.
Kids, this is why you cannot do ayahuasca before you go on a podcast.
Jetman, would you say that, in your opinion, that the Jet fans are the greatest fans in the world?
I'd say they're the most passionate. I've heard that they always tell women, go with meet and go with a guy who's a Jets fan because they're the most loyal.
Because they're very in touch with their feelings and they're used to crying.
But they're also
they're very sensitive.
A lot of times not the smartest. Like I'm running into people who are like, Zach Wilson has earned it. He deserves it. He should be the backup.
Jetman, why at a Giants game, Giants and Jets, why can't a Jets fan find a parking space?
I went to the game yesterday.
My
Jets, man. It was a Giant home game technically.
Jim, you're
for
not
their
right.
Season
You're not
ticket
right.
holders at this spot. They were taking up 3 spots per family to tailgate. And I have all these open spots I can't pull into because they're keeping their chairs, their barbecue stuff there. I just want to park my darn car to go to the stadium.
You know what you got to do, Jack? You got to back in real slow. Just keep backing in, hitting those tables. Whatever's in the way, just slowly back up.
Let me tell you, and I was a little upset too. I didn't say the whole story. I decided I was going to buy my dinner at the stadium. I get there, I buy a foot-long hot dog for $11. I tell them to put a lot of sauerkraut on it. I sit down on my seat. That little thin thing they give me turns over, and all the sauerkraut winds up on my lap. Now I knock it off, but it now lands on the seat in front of me. Now I got to clean the seat in front of me. They could do things better.
Jets in mid-season form with his sauerkraut.
I'll tell you. Wait till the Jets start off, 2-7. You might think he's crying now. Wait till they start off at 2-7.
But here's the most important question, Jetman. Here's the very most important question. On the 15th, do you have a seat for me to sit next to you, where to watch the drubbing that the Eagles are going to give you guys, and it's going to be 0-14 for you guys.
Where do they play this? Are they in
we play up in New York. I'm bringing 350 to 400 of my closest friends.
Nice.
They are. You got to understand about Pags.
Maybe
they don't really go to watch the game. They just go to party to have a good time, and then they check in on the game every once in a while.
Wait. Underneath Jack,
I doubt that that's the case, but
underneath Jack talking,
I don't need to sit with you. I just need to figure out where you're at so that I can come down there. And once we get on TV, you crying and me going like this. Well, that's all. That's all, because I'm trying to make you famous. I'm trying to make you famous.
Underneath all that Philly sports guy and Jack, the Jetman did offer to have you tailgate with him, Pags.
Hey, I'm game. I'll definitely stop on by.
There you go. I mean, see, we make things happen on the Mac and Jack and Jim Big Football. So we do make things happen.
Man, I love when you come on.
Yes,
because you get Jack straight.
Yeah, because Jack does get a little crazy every now and then. That's why I bring him back. Kind of straighten him out. So
no, I like his Jetman's preseason predictions that the Jets are going to get off to 4-0 start. You asked them about the first 4 games. I think it'll be 3-1, but I'm not going to argue.
Jack. Here you go, Jack. I'll make a bet with you right now. I won't do it with Jetman, but I will make it with you, Jack. On the Eagles versus the Jets on October 15th. if the Eagles win, you have to paint your face like the Philly sports guy and come on the show.
That's
If the Jets win, I'll sit here on this show and sing "When You're a Jet" all the way from your first cigarette to the last, from West Side Story. I'll do that whole song.
That's the problem. I don't get complacent. I don't look, and even Jim will vouch for this. You can't look ahead on the schedule. You can't look ahead. You got to take it week by week. I'm concentrating on game 1 against the Buffalo Bills.
I'm making a bet with you now, though.
It's
only 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away.
I'm not looking ahead to the Eagle game that far ahead.
No, that's good. It's good you're not.
I think that's a fearful bet. I think he's afraid to bet.
That's very. I know that.
I gotta see. You talk about hedging your bets. Let's say Aaron Rodgers isn't in that week.
Jack doesn't have the
That would be my fault.
Jack doesn't have the Mohawk thing going anyway, Pack. So it wouldn't.
That's okay. That's okay.
I wouldn't know how to paint my face anyway, even if I were to lose.
That's true. So
someone would have to come over. If you send over a makeup person, I consider it.
Guys, we're getting to the top of the show. It's going sideways. Jetman, we always love having you come on.
Thank you, Jetman.
You always make it fun.
Good stuff, Jetman.
Yes,
Always
thank you to Keith Engle. Thanks for you guys participating in my NFC All-Star team, and that's always fun doing that. And Jack will
what do you mean, the
Monday
Giants All-Star team? Is that what I heard? The Giants All-Star team? There definitely was an NFC East All-Star team.
You can do your team.
Victor Cruz is a number 1 receiver. Get out of here.
Put all your.
I just want to wait. Jetman, I don't know whether you keep a calendar of appointments you make, but can I ask in advance now on Super Bowl Sunday you come on that morning to talk about the upcoming game? I don't know who the Jets are going to be playing, but come on that morning.
I think it would be a little. I was just going to say that wouldn't be fair to him because I don't think he could comment on the Giants playing the Chiefs. So I knew he's not.
Hey, listen, I would love to see the Jets and the Eagles play because then they'd be 0-16.
There you go. All right.
Well, if you watched Hard Knocks, that mentalist said 31-21 Jets over the Niners.
All right. Well, there you go. The mentalist did make that prediction. Guys, again, Pickles, thanks for coming on. Chris,
thank you, Pickles.
Chris, message Linda if you want to, you want to talk about something like that. I ain't gonna put that on the fair. Thanks, Chris, for being part of the show today. I love having you on. Of course, we always have some of the Rick's always on with us and everything. A lot of views, a lot of likes. Thank you, guys. Thank everybody for coming on. Jim, JMB Talking Shop every Wednesday with the great Byron Williams. They always have a fun show. Pags is all over the place. He's always on TikTok, and he's all excited about the Phillies. They have a shot this year. And again, Jetman, thanks for coming on and giving us your all-Jet team. With Jack's help a little bit, but I think
we just want to go into the past. You guys I talk about the Super Bowl era, guys.
I used to think Jack was the expert. You might have changed my mind about the Jets right now. Who the real expert is? So, you guys all have a great day. Thanks for coming in, and me and Jack will see you again on Thursday. Have a great day, folks.
Have a great day, guys.
Go Jets.
Guys.
I'm on end this broadcast. Thank you very much.